Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 3 of the Energizer podcast. Today, I'm welcomed by Isiah Odom, senior from St. Joe's. Isiah, it's a pleasure to have you on today, man.
Thank you for having
Yeah, absolutely. So, kind of diving right into the interview, I guess.
me.
So, talking about like I said, you're a senior at Joe's. Obviously, pretty successful basketball career there. If you kind of want to just lay out your senior season, how that went, and if you want to talk about, I know your sophomore and junior year, being on really high quality teams. So, if you just want to kind of talk
Yeah,
about that.
so this past year, senior year, I feel like we had a good team. We're really young. A lot of sophomores, a couple freshmen, a couple juniors. So, I mean, it was really young. And as far as with the seniors, I mean, we had seniors from Sam Greco to Brendan Murphy to Luke Ross to D.I. Anderson. So we had a lot of seniors this year where we had to step up as far as the leadership roles. On previous teams, there always been a grade or two grades above us where the leadership was always there. And from last year's team to now this year's team, we had to step up huge. So I would say that as far as leadership in this past team, I feel like we did a solid job as far as leading the guys. I know that, and sometimes we could have been immature and maybe not taking things seriously, but when it was time to go on the court, I feel like we took care of business.
Yeah, I think it showed too, during your season. You guys obviously super talented team, and like I said, you guys were young a little bit this year, but having that seniority leadership is really good to hear. So I'm glad that you and a bunch of the other seniors were able to figure that out and make sure that that's a kind of sticking point for your team so far. So yeah, I mean, like I said, great season for you guys. So kind of also moving on into high school, I know you're first team All Catholic, All State New York team. I know you're highly ranked in Western New York. With those, awards and kind of honors towards you, how do you feel? Did it impact your game, or did it, did it make you feel a certain way about, yourself and your game? Did it affect you at all?
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like with those accolades, it comes with like the work I've put in over the years. I feel like that sometimes people can put the work in, but and they don't see the results right away, and they want to stop putting that work in. But I feel like I stayed at it and kept going at it, and then finally reaped the reward. I would say.
Yeah, and you talk about the work. What is your regimen look like? Like I said, if that's gym or the court or shooting, whatever it is. What does your regimen look like? Would you say, during the basketball season?
Yeah, so I mean, especially during the season, I mean, try to get shots up every single day, especially even if it's a game day. You want to get shots up that day. I know that with our team this year, we would have off day lifts sometimes, so we would lift after practice on off days in some periods of time. I would say that always we have a shooting gun to where I mean, put two or three balls in, and you can get shots up by yourself or get shots up with teammates. And usually we always did that after practice or before practice or like right after school. So I feel like those things helped and translated to the court this year.
Yeah, and like I said, that workout regimen really gets you going for making sure you're at your prime during your season. And talking about your off season, I guess, because that's one of the big things. When you're in the off season, what do you like to do to make sure that you feel ready to come back, ready to hit the ground running for the regular season?
Yeah, I would say conditioning is number one. I would say like conditioning, as long as you can stay on the court and run and not get tired, I feel like you can stay on the court and be on there as long as you like. I feel like with me, conditioning is number one. Second is being able to hit shots. I feel like taking different game shots, like you have catch and shoot threes to pull up threes to getting to the rim and trying to make different types of layups. Those different types of things are very crucial to like my game and how I play. So trying to work on those so it translates to the game is very crucial and very important to my game.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, well, obviously watching your season progress and you as a player, one of the things I notice is, and many others too, you like to be in the paint and make sure you're finishing the layups, or
Yeah.
you're when you're around the paint or just in general around the hoop, like you're ready to go and you're finishing your shots. So with that, I guess what would you say is your strong suit court wise, your game wise technique? What do you think that you bring to the table that is something that is gonna provide you an extra layer of success over your opponent?
Yeah, I would say that I mean number one is like you said before, just getting to the rim. I pride myself on trying to get to the basket and make plays for others, and make plays for myself maybe. And I feel like if I can get a paint touch, it can open up everything else for my teammates and myself. So then my shot from deep goes in, and my teammate's shot from deep goes in. It just opens everything up. If you start from the beginning of the game, is getting to the paint.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, kind of moving into your college career. Obviously, just committed to Duquesne. Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
What are your thoughts on moving up to the collegiate level of athletics? Do you feel confident going up?
Yeah, I feel confident. I know it's gonna be a tougher task than what it is in high school. I know there's gonna be bigger guys, stronger guys, taller guys. So I mean, it's just getting really excited to see how I do. This off season is gonna be crucial in staying in the gym and conditioning, like I said before, and getting shots up. I mean, if I can do those three things, I feel like I can hang.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like I said, it's good to hear that you already kind of have your off season mindset already planned out. And I'm really like I said, I'm really glad to hear that you committed, and obviously a lot of others are going to be watching and making sure your big things are to come. So really congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And with the collegiate level, I feel like you talked about earlier being that leader, and now you're going to be kind of going into colleges. One of the younger guys. Do you feel like that change, I guess, in leadership is gonna affect you, or do you feel like you're gonna still bring the same amount of leadership that you would in a high school game?
No, yeah, I'm gonna come in and try to just be who I am. Not try to do too much or do too less. I'm just trying to be who I am, and if even though I am a freshman, like if there's a mistake going on, I can help a teammate out. Yeah, I'm gonna try to do it everything any way I can. I just want to be a good teammate and a great teammate to my teammates, and just want to be there for when the game time comes and when game situations come, and when if there's maybe a question or something I can maybe help with, I just try to help with as much as I can.
Yeah, and kind of moving into not just your athletics in college, but also your classroom. Your time management. What do you think is going to be the most important aspect for being in the classroom, making sure you're getting your classwork done, and then you're going to the gym? What do you think in that kind of time is going to be your most important skill?
Yeah, so I would say, I mean, using study halls, I think it's gonna be crucial for me next year. I feel like it's gonna be crucial for me because I feel like I would have a tight schedule and be jam packed, and not have a lot of time for maybe free time. So I would say that using study hall. So if I have a class early in the morning and I have a time period to where I can get the work done and don't have my next class until later, I feel like that's crucial in getting that work done. So it's set aside. I don't have to worry about it until later.
Yeah, and kind of moving back into your high school era, talking about recruiting and making sure that you're in contact with college coaches. If you want to just give us a layout of
Yeah.
how you committed to Duquesne and what the process was to make sure that you were in contact.
Yeah, so I mean, as you can see, I committed really late before I go to college, um, but it really came so after the season. So after the season, um, I had always liked Duquesne. I had looked at Duquesne and liked the campus, so I went for a visit. I absolutely loved it. I was downtown. They had the Steelers, Pirates. I mean, so many sports teams there, and I called my coach right away. I said, "Hey, coach, I'm thinking about going to Duquesne. And we had a couple other options, but I was thinking about going to Duquesne, coach. What do you think the possibility of me playing there?" And the coach broke it down, and some things happened, and as you today, I'm able to say I'm committed to Duquesne University to play basketball, and it's just been a blessing I got.
Yeah, and you talked about having a few other options. What about Duquesne kind of separated that school from the other options? What do you think it was?
I would say is that, I mean, it may not be the crazy answer, but I would say that for me, I was thinking of as after basketball. So I was thinking about as far as like I want to own my own business one day and things like that, and it had the right programs and majors to where I was really intrigued. And not saying that the other choices didn't, but it really had me hooked on to where I don't think I ever could get unhooked.
Yeah, and I think that's super important. You're making that huge financial investment, especially going there
Hmm.
for your next 4 years or whatever your track may take you. But to have that type of feeling towards that university and making sure that you're feeling 100% about it is I think is super awesome. So, and like you said, after you're done with school, do you think that if you do decide to keep playing college basketball and it goes well and
Hmm.
you're a superstar out there, like what do you think it's going to be? Are you going to maybe try to pursue something after college with basketball, or do you think you're going to maybe settle down?
Yeah, so I mean, you never know where the road would take you. You may have to determine on how I'm doing at that particular time. If it presents itself and I'm playing well and doing well, then maybe yeah, after basketball, after college, pursue maybe a career after that.
Yeah,
I would say that, but also you also want to have. I always want to have a backup plan. So with me, I want to like I said earlier, I want to have my own business. So I want to make sure that I have the right avenues and the right spaces and being able to get into the right programs. Like I said with Duquesne, just trying to make sure I get in the right programs to where I can have my own business and start right away, just in case I don't want to play after school. So that's what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think that's, like you said, super vital to making sure that you have a plan even after college, because even though opportunities, present themselves, like you said, you never know if you're gonna get an opportunity to play after. And like I said, if you do, you're gonna pursue that. But it's also good to have, that steady backup plan. I feel like a lot of college kids nowadays do, like, because
Yeah,
they understand, like, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great experience playing that college sport. But once I'm done, like, I want to make sure that I have a mindset where I'm financially stable
right.
after, and I can provide for
And
myself.
handle
and
the family.
and I look at a lot of football schools. A lot of those kids, they go to college, they play D1, and then after that, it's like, what's going on? Because
Right.
they're trying to go to the NFL draft,
Yeah.
or they're trying to go play JUCO somewhere. So, like, I think it's super super important that you have that mindset, and I think
Yeah.
that's good. So I would say one of the questions that I think a lot of kids want to know, especially younger kids, what is it that you think separates yourself when you're trying to get recruited from other players?
I would say there are a couple things. I would say first, I would say is you want to make sure you're always on top of your game. You want to make sure that you're always practicing your skills and you're always getting shots up and staying in the weight room and stuff like that because there are some kids that are talented, right? Just natural born talent. But there are some kids that may not be as talented, but they work super hard, outwork the person that's really talented to where they become better than the person that's more talented than them. And I feel like it's crucial. If you can work hard always and never take any days off, I feel like the sky's the limit. I mean, as far as getting in contact with coaches, it's all about, you know, making sure you are in the right situation because I believe that there are some kids that want to play at some places like maybe like AAU like travel just for the name of it and maybe not for where they would be able to play and be seen. I feel like that happens a lot, and if you can play for the right place that wants you and not just you playing because of the name of it, I feel like you can put yourself in a great position.
Yeah, I think that's a huge, huge problem, like, nowadays with collegiate sports. Is kids, they commit to a big name school, and then they go, and then they don't play until their last year. And for you, like you said, you're going to Duquesne. You're going to pursue your opportunity. You're gonna be able to get in the games. And actually, make sure that you're providing to the team. You're contributing, and I think that's a crucial aspect of a collegiate career. And I know, I like last week's episode talking to Tyler Smart. He said the
Yeah,
same thing about lacrosse. I
yeah,
mean, he's a good lacrosse player, and he's going to Air Force, which is an up and coming
program.
program. And I think it's super important that you, like you said, you have that
Right.
mindset towards, this is what my opportunity is going to get me, and this is how I'm going to pursue it. So,
Yeah.
and I would say, talking about basketball, any sport in general, but for you, basketball,
Mhm.
what made you fall in love with the sport, and kind of what still makes you feel like, this is my sport?
Yeah. So I mean, starting off when I was younger, I played ever since I was 3 years old. I would say that I mean, I really didn't like to go to school when I was younger, so I mean, I would play into my driveway until it got late and the sun got down, and I have to go to school the next day. But just be playing with playing with like teammates or friends that became teammates later, and just enjoying the game and having fun. Time would just go by. I wouldn't even realize the time it went by from having so much fun. And even to now, like this past senior year, like having the rowdies, like I mean, it's just, I mean, it's just unreal how loud they get
Yeah,
and how hyped they get. I mean, it's unreal and it's a crazy experience and atmosphere to play in. I love it.
yeah, and kind of tying into that point. So you talk about the Rowdies in high school, and obviously, like I said, you're going to Duquesne. You're gonna have a bigger fan base. How do you feel, about being in the court Friday night primetime game, and you got your whole school behind you? Are you gonna feel any
Uh,
different?
Thrill. I'm really so excited. I mean, just the fact that you can play in front of your friends and some of my family if they come up. It's gonna be such a great feeling and honor to play in front of. I mean, I'm just really excited for the next 4 years.
Yeah, and even, like I said, to get to that 4 years. So obviously, you're out of school,
Yeah,
graduation tomorrow, which is
yeah,
sweet.
it's crazy.
So talking about your off season, what's gonna get you prepared for next season to make sure you get to Duquesne and you're hitting the ground running. What is your main priority over the off season?
Yeah, so I think my main priority is staying in the weight room and conditioning. I feel like those two things are gonna be able to keep me up with the team. If I can stay conditioned and be able to be strong and play with kids that are going to be, I mean, bigger, taller, faster, stronger. I feel like I can hang with them and do what I need to do in order to play with the team.
Yeah, and one thing I guess I should ask is, what do you think? One thing that not you're nervous about, but one thing that is a concern to you that you feel like you're gonna have to put in that extra effort to make sure that you're leveling that.
Yeah, I would say, as far as I want to be the type of player there where I'm able to do whatever I can to make an impact, or wherever I can, even though that's maybe not playing right away, or maybe if that's not cheering on a teammate, making that teammate that's playing better. I just want to make sure that maybe the morale of the team is up and there's high spirits, positive spirits, and that I can do whatever I need to do in order to help the team win any way I can.
Yeah, and like I said, that's definitely a great perspective to have on your incoming freshman, and to have that kind of mindset already towards making sure that you're being supportive. I think is something that's going to stand out to coaches, and definitely something that has standed out to Joe's coaches. Obviously, where are you named captain this year? One of
Yeah,
them. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
me and Sam
I think
are.
that's another thing where you bring a leadership aspect, and that's really vital to making sure that your team morale is up. So I think that's 100%. And I guess I would say the last thing to ask you is,
Mhm.
what is something you would want to leave the viewers with, whether it's regarding basketball, college, whatever it may be, that you feel like, younger generations need to know?
Yeah, I would say that the one thing that is really crucial is follow your dreams. It doesn't matter what anyone else says or thinks. What if you if you want to do something, you can do it. If you put the work in, the time in, and say you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, say you want to be a professional, I mean, basketball player. If you say you want to do that and you're gonna put the work in for it, there's no one that can stop you. No one can tell you you can't. There's always gonna be negativity and doubters, but you always need to block that out. Just do what you do because you never know what can happen. Because dreams do come true.
Yeah, great advice. Great advice for sure. Well, I just want to say thank you for coming on today.
Yes,
Obviously, congrats on the commitment to Duquesne.
thank you,
A lot of people I know, including myself, expecting big things, and I'm sure we'll
thank you,
see them. So,
thank you too.
really, like I said, congratulations and best of luck to you. Ladies and gents, thank you for watching this week's episode. I'll make sure to shout out Isiah in the description below. Also, the Energizer podcast, Instagram, and Power39 Athletic Clothing will be dropping soon, I promise. A couple weeks coming out, so please stay tuned for that. And thank you for watching.